breaks up the Aprilia party, but for how much longer? Because Jorge Martin charging here potentially towards what would be his 21st MotoGP pole position. Bezzecchi's lap time has gone away, but Martin, look at this, from the 2024 world champion, it is a beaut. A 1:30.812 has put Martin on pole. He did it behind his teammate Marco Bezzecchi, who was the perfect outline, the perfect reference ahead of him there. Martin then snatches provisional pole.
I was about to say, we saw a KTM going slowly. Once again, it's Pedro Acosta. He was on a very good lap. I think he might have been the rider that brought out those yellow flags, which impeded Bezzecchi, and yet another KTM breaking down on Pedro Acosta. Same place.
Well, I'm speechless.
Yeah, this is not a replay of free practice 2, viewers. This is the second time this morning that Acosta's KTM has given up the ghost at turn 12.
Exact same. The engine is still running. You can hear it still running. He's back in neutral, and he's just along for the ride. Oh. Your heart goes out. You've got to spare a thought for Acosta, because every time that KTM runs, he is wringing the absolute neck out of it. He is giving his all. I mean, he's been the standout rider, hasn't he, for the last 2-3 years at KTM. But at what point does the patience snap? At what point does he just lose his cool? He's done a very good job of being rather diplomatic about all these sort of tech issues, but he's going to blow eventually. I mean, this is embarrassing for KTM.
Here comes Marco Bezzecchi, who misses out by 3/100ths of a second. I think he was the rider. Those momentary yellow flags flashed in front of Bezzecchi, so he had to bail out of the previous lap. And is that going to potentially cost him pole position? It's still Martin, Bezzecchi, Fernandez, the front row of the grid. Agura's going to have to go some from there to get himself onto the front row. He climbs one place into 5th.
2 mechanicals in 2 days cost Acosta any points in Brno. 2 mechanicals in less than 2 hours here in Assen. Ralph Fernandez back on the front row, cracking lap, a 1:30.915. That has squeezed Bagnaia back onto row 2 in 4th place. Super close is on those first 2 rows. Not even a 1/10 and a half covering the top 6. Martin, Bezzecchi, Ralph Fernandez. Your second all the pretty front row in the last 4 Grand Prix potentially. Row 2 currently Bagnaia, Agura and the Gian Antonio. Acosta, who's out of this session, frustratingly out of this session once again through absolutely no fault of his own. He's going to be hoping that he can hold on to 7th place right now and lead that 3rd row of the grid.
Marquez then still in 11th place without a legal lap. I'm sure he'll have left plenty of margin that time through turn 13. The current estimation is that it will only lift him up 1 place from 11th to 10th. Let's see if the world champion can produce something special through the final chicane, where he has already crashed once already this weekend. The line is approaching him now. Marc Marquez climbs 4 places ahead of his future teammate. He's now 7th.
It would be a season worst qualifying for the reigning world champion. His lowest so far this year was a 6th at his beloved Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Ralph Fernandez, Jorge Martin. This is not a given that Martin's going to secure that 21st MotoGP pole position, because Fernandez is on the charge once again. This is sector 4, where the Aprilia works a treat. The Aprilia works a dream in this part of the circuit. Through the timber chicane he goes. Ralph Fernandez then. Currently, Agura's gone 2nd, and Ralph Fernandez does snatch it late on. A 1:30.769 from Ralph Fernandez. Aprilia now lock out not just the front row, they lock out the top 4.
Oh, his lap time's been cancelled though, Matt. Lap time cancelled for track limits. They do still lock out the top 4, but Ralph Fernandez, I think, has just seen it on the screen. He's gone from provisional pole back down to 4th again.
Wow, drama in the extreme here in this session in Q2 here in Assen. So Ralph Fernandez thought he had set the pole time here, and now it's been reinstated.
It's back on our screens again.
Oh no, it's back. No, hang on, we've got a bit of a timing glitch here.
Final chicane was where he breached it, turn 18, so that's coming out of the Gert Timmer chicane, and that with meters to the finish line and meters away from pole position. Ralph Fernandez touching the green.
He's on pole. No, he isn't. He's on pole. No, he isn't. Unfortunately, Raul, you aren't at this stage. What about Marc Marquez trying to get himself on those first 2 rows of the grid, and he can't do it. Marc Marquez can't do it. A 1:31.131. A shake of the head there from Davide Tardozzi, and that's game over. Marc Marquez, then, it is going to be a season worst starting position of 7th on the grid for the world champion, stuck behind an armada of Aprilias. Aprilia then, what a day they have had. Marco Bezzecchi's domination of this Dutch Grand Prix has finally ended. He's going to be on the front row of the grid row in 3rd place. But after taking their historic first ever all front row in Mugello recently, Aprilia with Jorge Martin on pole for the 21st time in his career. His first pole since Australia back in 2024. This is the decisive moment. How close is it? Oh, just the right-hand side of that rear tyre, just scraping the green. That has cost Ralph Fernandez pole position. It has not denied, though, Aprilia their best ever qualifying performance. Martin is your pole sitter here in Assen. The front row, and another Aprilia lockout. Agura second, Bezzecchi third, and for the first time in Grand Prix history, 4 Aprilias will start from the top 4 with Ralph Fernandez in 4th place. Catch him if you can.
Yeah, there is no catching them at the moment so far this weekend. Bezzecchi's unbeaten weekend is over, but Aprilia's is not. And a first Aprilia pole for Jorge Martin, who felt like the outsider of the 4 Aprilias coming into this session, but never underestimate Martin's ability to produce magic on a qualifying lap. MotoGP pole number 37.
Marc Marquez then, for only the 2nd time as a factory Ducati rider, finds himself on the 3rd row of the grid. Tough that for Jorge Martin.
Yeah, of course, pole number 21. It's his 37th podium that he's chasing tomorrow. Getting a little caught up in the excitement of Martin's first pole position for the Noali factory. And Ralph Fernandez will be feeling a little bit bitter with envy with that, because he's the odd one out on the front row of the grid, and all the pretty front row he has to settle for 4th place. The pace was there, but through mere millimetres, Ralph Fernandez goes from pole down to 4th.
It's another absolute calamity for KTM. Pedro Acosta, through no fault of his own. Last weekend in Assen, there was no points after technical issues came his way in the sprint on the Grand Prix. More issues for Acosta, see him dumped down to 8th place in that session. He's going to be starting this Grand Prix alongside his future factory Ducati teammate, Marc Marquez. Pole position then, number 21 for Jorge Martin in his MotoGP career.